Hi, and welcome to this lecture. In this video, I want to talk about early stage investors and capital for startups. Let's say you have a wonderful business idea. You have talked to your friends, your family members, maybe some experts in the field, and they all have told you that this is a brilliant idea and you should implement it, you should go for it. But they all also mention that you need capital for this, you need money for that. Where are you going to get that money from? What if you don't have any money? What if you don't have any savings? Maybe you need to buy some equipment. Maybe you need to hire some people. So in this video, I want to answer to that question. On this slide, you see all the sources that you can go to at the early stage of initiating your own business, of founding your startup. First of all, you can tap into your own savings or your parents' savings. Or maybe you have a wealthy relative that can help you, that can lend you some money. Some of your friends might be willing to help you, not just with, lending you money or investing in your business idea, but they might be willing to work for you or work with you. But what if you don't have wealthy relatives? What if you don't have a lot of savings? Or what if you don't really want to tap into your savings and invest everything you have in this idea because, there's a lot of risk? You can go to outside investors then, right? And get them excited about your business idea and tell them that by investing in your idea, they can have maybe high returns. For instance, you can go to angel investors. Angel investors are usually older people, experienced people, maybe former entrepreneurs or currently running their own business who are willing to help younger entrepreneurs, younger startup founders, or the people who are in the beginning of this path, this road. Another source of capital for your startup at the early stage is crowdfunding platforms. That's where you go to raise funds from, people all around the world. You can talk about your business idea, you can talk about the product that you want to develop, the services that you want to provide, and get them excited about it. You can maybe ship your products to them and ask for their feedback. Or maybe you can, give them some uh, financial return. For example, you can borrow from them and then pay them back later with a little bit of interest. Another place that you can go to get help for your startup activities is incubators and accelerators. These agencies, they have startup programs that you can apply for and you can participate in. They have training programs. They might even give you office spaces that you can use. You meet other entrepreneurs in these programs and you can network with them. Maybe you can collaborate with them. You can find your future employees there. And they might be even willing to invest a little bit in your startup idea. Last but not least, you can go to social impact investors, especially if you have a business idea that will help the society as a whole. And if money is not your sole driver, for example, if you have an idea for a sustainable energy source. So let's take a look at them one by one with more details. The first source of capital, as I said, are the founders, their family members, and their friends. If you ask all the successful entrepreneurs, they all will tell you that in the beginning, they invested their own savings in their business idea, or they received some capital from some money basically from their parents or their relatives or from their friends. They got help from the people around them, the people that are socially connected to them. Is it a good idea or not? It's indeed risky. You don't want to lose other people's money or all your savings in a very risky business idea at the very early stage of your startup activity. Before you start, it's very hard to know whether you're going to be successful or not. And you certainly don't want to lose the social connections, the social relationships that you have with the people around you, with your relatives, with your friends, just because you lost their money in your business idea. So indeed, it's very risky, but it's necessary. You have to prepare your company for outside investors. You have to develop your business idea. You have to do market research. You have to have a business plan, financial projections before you talk to any outside investors. It's hard to get them excited if you just have one idea. You can get some personal loans if you don't have a lot of money. You can use your credit card to buy some equipments that you need. But you have to show everyone that you believe in your own idea yourself and you are willing to invest in your idea. Some entrepreneurs, never go to any outside investors. They can basically run their business with their own money and with the business cash, right? If you have your initial sales, you can use that cash to pay for your costs and expenses. And you can basically run your business without getting any further help, any further capital from outside. It's a good idea. It seems like a good idea because you can keep the control of your company in your own hands. But it may not be really possible option for a lot of startups, especially if you require large initial investment, initial capital. For example, if you need to buy, some equipment, some machines that are very expensive, or if you need to hire a very expensive engineer to develop or to design basically a product for you. In such cases, bootstrapping is not the most optimal choice for you, and you have to go to the outside investors at some point in the in the life of your startup. One of the first outside investors that you can go to are angel investors. Angel investors, as I said, are wealthy individuals who are willing to invest their own money in the startups. Sometimes you see that they sort out networks, right? They get together, a bunch of them, a few of them, and they create these angel networks. So they help each other to find good, business ideas, good startups, potential ideas for investment. Sometimes they pool their money to be able to invest larger amount in multiple startup ideas. Okay, so they're certainly very helpful, but usually they don't invest large capital. What if you look at the statistics? Angel investors usually, invest less than $100,000 or euros in one, in a single startup. This doesn't seem to be a lot of money, but certainly it's good in the beginning, right? You can use this for your market research to understand how much demand is out there for the product that you have in mind. You can also use this capital to develop a prototype, right? This prototype sample product you can later take to more professional, more serious investors who have more money so that they can help you manufacture this product and take it to the basically product market and have your first sales. The other benefit of angel investors is that many of angel investors actually have been entrepreneurs themselves, right? And that's actually how they became wealthy and how they became rich. So in a way, they want to actually give back to the community, right? And they want to help young entrepreneurs, especially, to be successful in this journey as well. Because they have a lot of experience and expertise, they can give you a lot of good advice as well to be successful in the future. So these non-financial help and benefits of angel investors are something that you shouldn't ignore. And certainly you have to take advantage of this benefit as well. If you cannot find an angel investor who is willing to invest in your startup, or you don't want to go to angel investors, you can also go to crowdfunding platforms. So crowdfunding platforms are websites, internet websites, where you can apply for capital, for money from the people all around the world. So you can go to one of these platforms, for example. Kickstarter is one of the most popular and famous crowdfunding platforms in the world. And you initiate a campaign, right, for your business. You talk about the product, you talk about the business idea, you talk about yourself, the team that you have put together. Maybe you post some pictures, maybe you have some videos, and in this way you can get the crowd excited about your product, excited about your business, and ask for money. You can set a target. For example, you say that I want to raise 50,000 euros in this campaign for this specific purpose, for example, to develop a prototype. And if you reach that target in the, in the crowdfunding platform, then you can use all the funds that you have raised. There are multiple ways that investors are compensated for the money that they invest in a business idea on a crowdfunding platform. In some platforms, investors don't get anything in return. Basically, these are purely donation platforms. And the reason that investors participate in these types of fundraising is that they get some social welfare from that. For example, they feel that they are a source of change. They are, giving their money for a good cause. Sometimes you reward them in a non-financial way. For example, you can send them your first product and ask for their feedback. It can also help you a lot, right? The feedback they give you for improvement of your product. Maybe you can name a product after an investor if they give you a large capital, right? So that's basically one way of compensating your investors. You can also borrow money from them, right? There are platforms, lending platforms, basically, that you get a loan from multiple lenders, and then you basically pay the loan back with some interest. So in that way, they get basically financial compensation, financial reward from this investment. And rarely you see that people actually buy shares in startups and businesses through these crowdfunding campaigns. This doesn't happen a lot because there are a lot of regulations around that. But you see nowadays more and more platforms basically provide the opportunity for investors to buy shares in startups, hoping that they will have large financial returns in the future. On this slide, you see multiple crowdfunding platforms. These are actually the most famous around the world or in the Netherlands, and they use a different sort of reward systems for their investors and for the fundraisers, basically. Another advantage in going to crowdfunding platforms is that you get a lot of visibility for your business idea and for the innovative product that you may have. You can create excitement in future customers. Everyone may be waiting really impatiently to actually buy your product or use your product in the future once it's in the markets, right? So in that sense, you can basically get a lot of momentum, and you don't need probably a lot of marketing in the future. So you can save a lot of cost in that sense as well. But it also has some disadvantages. One of the major concerns about crowdfunding platforms is the information that you have to disclose to the public about your product, about your business idea. And other people, other companies, other entrepreneurs might actually steal this, this business idea, this innovative idea. So if you haven't really protected your intellectual property through maybe patenting, it's not a good idea to go to a crowdfunding platform. And you might want to just stay with a few investors and make sure that they cannot really disclose information to other people, so you protect your idea from being stolen. The final early stage investors that we're going to look at are social impact investors. Social impact investors mostly invest in nonprofit businesses. For example, if you have an idea to provide more clean water to people in poor countries, right? But that's it's not only limited to nonprofit businesses. They also invest in for-profit and commercial ventures. But if they have a socially valuable mission, what do I mean? Let me give you some examples. For example, if you have an idea about producing green energy, sustainable energy, or if you have an idea to recycle more waste, or if you have an idea that can help with eliminating or removing pollution from, for example, rivers or oceans, these are the types of investors um, that are, that are willing to invest in such ideas that you should go to. You can easily get them excited about your business idea. It's much easier for you to, get raise capital from these types of investors than regular investors who probably care more about the financial returns and the future profit in the business. Okay, so this is indeed a very big market in the Netherlands at the moment. Around 2% of the the institutional capital in, for example, pension funds, in family offices, in large banks are invested in, in socially impactful business ideas. This is around 25 billion euros. It's a relatively large market, and it's also growing very fast. So if you are someone who doesn't only care about money and cares about society, this is basically the place that you should go to, and it's very likely that you can raise your early stage capital from these sources. All right. So that was it for this lecture. So in this video, we learned who the early stage investors are, and depending on your business idea, depending on your capital needs, and depending on how much non-financial support you need, you should choose among these basically different types of resources, different types of investors, so that you can get them the maximum amount of financial and non-financial support that you are looking for. So I see you on the next video, and there we're going to talk about more medium and later stage investors.